by the New York Times of July 18, 2015 reports that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men is sexually assaulted while in college, a crisis that calls for swift solutions. Some states, including New York, California, and Louisiana, have adopted affirmative consent, yes means yes laws. Some schools have introduced mandatory consent workshops, and a new approach uses technology to mediate sexual encounters. In early July, the Institute for the Study of Coherence and Emergence released We Consent, an app-based service marketed to universities that offers to video record sexual consent. Using facial recognition technology and a microphone, We Consent collects the user's name and verbal confirmation that they want to have sex with another person. When both users have said yes, this video is then saved. While the app is being met with some resistance from anti-rape activists and skeptical students, creator Michael Lissack defends the tool, saying that sometimes we need props to trigger conversation. Assuming need is rhetorically constructed, we ask, is mediated consent technology needed? To answer, we turn to Isabel Peterson's My Life Fits, Augmented Memory and Rhetoric of Need, published in the Continuum Journal of Media and Cultural Studies in June 2008. Her model serves as the ideal fit for our analysis because it challenges the rhetorical aspects of an invention before it emerges into an everyday medium of communication. We will examine Peterson's framework, apply it to We Consent, and draw critical implications. Back in 2007, Microsoft released a new program called My Life Fits. In a nutshell, the program worked to help augment the human memory. It received lots of media attention, but Dr. Isabel Peterson was most interested in the rhetoric released by the inventors about their inventions. Her model suggests that in order to justify the making of their inventions, inventors relied on the rhetoric of need, which is marked by 3 prevalent themes: memory as an act, memory as a need of surrogacy, and memory as a storage device. First, memory as an act. Inventors tap into the commonly held belief that humans aren't good at remembering things. By pointing to the limitations of human memory, inventors can then lay the groundwork for their inventions. Peterson writes that this type of appeal intimidates us because we are already predisposed to consider our memories as faulty. For example, the inventors of My Life Fits reminded the public that even with post-it notes and digital address books, important information slips through the cracks. Next, the rhetoric of need frames the invention as memory's perfect surrogate. It does, in a sense, a machine becomes the custodian of the human body, knowing what is good for us. All of this is predicated on the belief that remembering is perfection and forgetting useless. Inventors move us towards perfecting our memory by moving us to be perfect. For example, the rhetoric that surrounds My Life Fits capitalized on the secure feeling created by the surrogate, saying it was like having an assistant with the perfect memory. And the third theme, memory is equated with storage. Here the inventors conflate digital computer memory, which is stored on a computer, with that of human memory, which is not really stored anywhere. Peterson suggests that this is basically metonymy, where the basic strategy is to convey an incorporeal or intangible idea in stated terms of the tangible. For example, My Life Fits inventors reduce life to a volume of memories stored as a mass of files on computers. After examining Peterson's work, we can see that inventors don't think the human memory is capable of remembering information. We can then use the 3 themes and apply it to We Consent. First, We Consent frames memory as an act. The website that explains and promotes We Consent, protect=respect.com, begins with a description of sexual encounters as emotional, muddled, and full of pressure about what are the rules going to be tomorrow. Framing sexual contact as full of stressful, hard to pin down rules is a way to suggest that a person is not capable of keeping things straight in their head. But the creators don't just frame the user's memory as an act. Perhaps more importantly, they frame the sexual partner's memory as an act. That person can't be trusted to remember that they gave consent. Next, the creators of We Consent frame memory as a need of surrogacy. They knew this by presenting We Consent as the only way to guarantee that consensual mutual partners will engage in discussion. In their stated mission, they say that discussion is required, and We Consent is the tool to meet to bring this conversation front and center. They go on to say that this is the only way for social norms to change. In a sense, the rhetoric that surrounds we consent suggests that there has never before been a clear opportunity to say no, along with the invitation to say yes. This explicit discussion belongs to the act. Lastly, we consent equates memory with storage. They do this by taking the intangible consent process and making it a tangible video. This video has been saved and encrypted for 7 years, only to be accessed by law enforcement upon judicial order and colleges and universities in case of sexual assault disciplinary proceedings. By saving and storing this video, the tangible artifact is able to live beyond the initial sexual contact. All of this conflates digital memory of consent with that of human interaction. After examining we consent, we can return to today's question. Is mediated consent technology needed? No. The need established by the inventors functions to justify the existence of this technology. But our analysis suggests that the rhetorical strategies they rely on capitalize on our deeply rooted insecurities about the human memory as it relates to consent. The rhetoric of need validates the technology while intimidating the user, leading to two implications: consent myths and technological solutionism. First, the rhetoric of need obscures the nuanced process of consent. With the recording at the center of technology, consent is decontextualized, rendering clear signs of consent potentially worthless. What about coercion? If consent is given while surrounded by a threatening group of fraternity men, for example, that's not consent. What about intoxication? What about deception? Additionally, we consent ignores the potential withdrawal of consent. Instead, framing a one-time yes is an always yes. Perhaps most counterproductively is that the service reinforces rape myths, suggesting that false accusations happen more often than they do, and that the perpetrator, rather than the victim, is the one in need of protection, and that rape is the result of a misunderstanding about consent, rather than a decision made by a rapist. Finally, we consent is part of a larger story about the relationship between technology and sexual assault. When read alongside rape-preventing nail polish, anti-rape cuffs, and apps that virtually follow women home safely, the present artifact is indicative of what Evgeny Morozov calls technological solutionism, which is an ideology that sees complex social issues like sexual assault as neatly defined problems that can be easily optimized with the right algorithms, right prompts, right recordings. Not only is this approach short-sighted, it is also profitable. We Consent is for sale with an annual membership fee of $5 per user. And while initial adoption has been slow, the company behind the app is aggressively pursuing lucrative contracts with universities, reminding us to be cautious of the commodification of sexual assaults. Today, we have examined Peterson's framework, used it to analyze we consent, and discussed implications. While encouraging couples to engage in discussion about the implications of starting a sexual relationship, we consent is not the tool that meets this need. Instead, we must rely on our own human memory.